opened the door, and Thomas Mackler stepped out smiling. That was impossible. I'd watched them hang Thomas Mackler 3 days ago in Langtree. I'd stood in the crowd of 200 souls who came to see Judge Roy Bean's justice delivered. I'd seen the rope go taut, seen his body drop, heard his neck snap clean. I'd watched him twitch and go still. And now he stood in my doorway at midnight, wearing the same brown suit they'd buried him in, smiling at me like we were old friends meeting for whiskey. "Evening, William," he said. His voice sounded exactly as I remembered. "Aren't you going to invite me in?" 3 weeks earlier, I'd been the one who'd turned him in. I was running a modest freight business in Del Rio, hauling goods between the border towns and San Antonio. Honest work, or as honest as anything got along the Rio Grande in 1890. Thomas Mackler had approached me at the Silver Dollar Saloon with a proposition. "Simple job," he said. "Transport some crates from Eagle Pass to a ranch outside Uvalde. $500. Don't look inside. I should have known better. $500 was 6 months' income for moving crates 100 miles. But my wife Sarah was sick, really sick, and the doctor in San Antonio wanted $300 just to see her. The medicine he prescribed cost another $100. We had a daughter, Emma, just turned 7. I needed that money. The crates were heavy, iron-banded, padlocked. They rattled when the wagon hit rocks. Halfway to Uvalde, I stopped to water the horses, and my curiosity got the better of me. I pried open one corner of the top crate with a crowbar. Rifles, new Winchester repeaters, at least 40 of them, and beneath those, dynamite, enough to blow a hole in half of Texas. I knew immediately what this was. The Mexican revolutionaries were getting desperate, and plenty of men on both sides of the border were willing to sell them weapons. Thomas Mackler was running guns, and he'd made me his mule. I drove straight to the Texas Rangers post in Uvalde, turned in the whole load, testified that Mackler had hired me, described him down to the gold tooth in his smile. The Rangers tracked him to Langtree within a week. Judge Roy Bean tried him in the Jersey Lily Saloon on a Tuesday afternoon. The trial lasted 20 minutes. Mackler stood there in chains, that gold tooth flashing as he smiled at me across the room. He never denied anything, just kept smiling. "William Cooper," he said, when Bean asked if he had anything to say. "Remember that name, Your Honor. Remember it well. They hanged him at dawn on Wednesday. I stayed to watch. I needed to see it finished." Now he stood at my door wearing his burial suit. "You look pale, William," Mackler said, stepping across my threshold without waiting for an invitation. "Seen a ghost?" I stumbled backward into my parlor. The oil lamp on the side table flickered. Sarah and Emma were asleep upstairs. My rifle was in the study, but my legs wouldn't move. "You're dead," I said. The words came out thin, reedy. "I watched you hang." "You did indeed." He walked to my chair and sat down, crossing his legs like a man settling in for a long conversation. Up close, I could see the rope burn around his neck, a dark purple line cutting into his flesh. Felt every second of it too. The drop, the snap, the slow fade. Very unpleasant, William. Would not recommend. "This isn't real." I pressed my back against the wall. "This is fever. Guilt." "Is it?" Mackler reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a silver pocket watch. My pocket watch. The one my father had given me, the one I'd lost 2 months ago. "Found this in your wagon, the one you used to haul my merchandise to the Rangers. You dropped it between the crates when you were prying them open. He tossed it to me. I caught it reflexively. It was cold, ice cold, but it was mine. I could see the inscription on the back. To William, from Father, 1875. How did you get out of my grave? Mackler smiled wider. That gold tooth gleamed in the lamplight. Well, that's an interesting question. See, when a man dies with a debt unsettled, sometimes the debt doesn't care much about the dying part. The debt wants what it's owed. I don't owe you anything. My voice was stronger now, anger cutting through fear. You were a criminal, a gunrunner. You would have armed killers. Would have, could have, might have. Mackler waved his hand dismissively. That's all speculation, William. What's fact is that you took my money. You agreed to do a job. Then you broke that agreement and sent me to the rope. In the eyes of certain parties, that makes you a debtor. What parties? I looked at the door, calculating if I could reach it before him. What the hell are you talking about? The parties that matter when you die with business unfinished. He stood up, and I noticed for the first time that he cast no shadow in the lamplight. The flame bent toward him, drawn like he was pulling it in. See, William, there's contracts in this world, and then there's contracts. The kind written in older ink, the kind that death can't void. He walked toward me, and the temperature in the room dropped. I could see my breath now, white clouds in the August heat. You cost me my life, William. The parties I worked for, they don't take kindly to failed deliveries. They invested in those weapons. They expected return. When I got caught because of you, the debt transferred. And when they hanged me, well, let's just say my creditors found a way to collect through other means. You're insane. I edged toward the study door. You're a hallucination. Am I? In one fluid movement, he was in front of me, close enough that I could smell the grave dirt on his clothes. Then why did the floorboard just creak under my feet? Why can you feel the cold I brought with me? Why is your daughter stirring upstairs because she feels something wrong in her house? I froze. He was right. I could hear Emma whimpering in her room above us. What do you want? I whispered. A job completed. Mackler stepped back, giving me space to breathe. You interrupted my work, William. You owe me a delivery. One shipment just like before. Except this time you finish what you start. No. I shook my head. I won't run guns for you or anyone else. Not guns this time. He reached into his coat and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Simpler cargo. A package. You pick it up in Piedras Negras tomorrow night. You deliver it to an address in San Antonio by Sunday midnight. That's it. 4 days. Then your debt is cleared. And if I refuse? His smile vanished. The temperature dropped another 10 degrees. The lamp flame guttered and nearly died. Then I stay, William. I stay right here in this house with you and Sarah and sweet little Emma. I'll be here when you wake up, here when you eat breakfast, here when you kiss your daughter goodnight. And slowly, day by day, I'll remind you that some debts can't be escaped by death. Yours or mine. Upstairs, Emma started crying, full sobs now, terrified. Don't you touch her. I lunged toward the stairs, but Mackler caught my arm. His grip was strong, impossibly strong, and cold enough to burn. I don't need to touch her, William. She can already feel what I am. Children are sensitive that way. How long do you think she'll last with me in her home? A week? A month? How long before the nightmares break her? He released my arm. I stared at him, at the rope burn on his neck, at the dirt under his fingernails, at the gold tooth gleaming in his corpse smile. 1 delivery, he said softly. Then I'm gone. You'll never see me again. Your debt paid. Your family safe. Sarah called down from upstairs, her voice weak, concerned. William? Is someone there? Emma's crying. I looked at the paper in Mackler's hand, looked at the stairs, heard my daughter's sobs. Show me, I said. He unfolded the paper, an address in Piedras Negras, written in red ink, a name, Cornelius Wade, and a San Antonio address for delivery, 412 Alameda Street. The instructions were simple. Midnight pickup, midnight delivery. Tell no one. What's in the package? I asked. Does it matter? Mackler refolded the paper and held it out. You didn't care what was in my crates before. You just wanted the money. I care now. Now you're scared. There's a difference. He pressed the paper into my hand. Midnight tomorrow, William. Cornelius Wade will be waiting. Don't be late. And don't look inside. Some things are better left unseen. He walked toward my door, then paused on the threshold. One more thing. You'll note the delivery is complete when you receive confirmation. A message will come. Until then, consider our arrangement active. If you run, I'll find you. If you tell the Rangers, I'll know. If you try to cheat me again. He gestured upstairs, where Emma's crying had faded to hiccups. Well, you're a smart man. You understand consequences now. He stepped out into the night. I rushed to the door, looked out into the darkness. The street was empty. No footprints in the dust. No sign anyone had been there at all except the paper in my hand and the ice-cold air still lingering in my parlor. I locked the door with shaking hands and ran upstairs. Emma was sitting up in bed, her face wet with tears. Sarah was holding her, stroking her hair. Papa, Emma whispered when she saw me. There's a bad man in our house. He smells like dirt. It's okay, sweetheart. I knelt beside the bed and held them both. He's gone now, I promise. But I was lying. I could feel him somewhere close, watching, waiting to see if I'd keep my word this time. The next day, I told Sarah I had a freight job. Rush delivery, good money. I'd be back Sunday night. She wanted to know details, but I kissed her forehead and promised everything would be fine. Another lie. I took the ferry across the Rio Grande at dusk. Piedras Negras sprawled on the Mexican side, a mirror of Del Rio but rougher, more dangerous after dark. The address led me to a warehouse district near the rail yards, a squat adobe building with no sign, no windows, just a single iron door. I knocked at midnight exactly. The door opened. The man who answered wasn't what I expected. Cornelius Wade was small, elderly, dressed in a black suit that looked a century out of fashion. Wire-rimmed spectacles, liver-spotted hands. He looked like someone's grandfather, not a criminal contact. William Cooper, he said, not a question. You're late. It's midnight exactly, I said, checking my pocket watch. Midnight here was 3 minutes ago. He gestured me inside. Time runs differently on this side, you'll learn. The warehouse interior was bare except for a single wooden crate in the center, about the size of a hat box. A lantern hung beside it, casting strange shadows that seemed to move independently of the light. That's it? I pointed at the crate. That's what I'm delivering? Weight and size mean nothing, Mr. Cooper. Wade walked to the crate and placed one hand on top. It's what's inside that matters. And before you ask, no, you may not look. The consequence for opening this container would be significantly worse than any debt Thomas Mackler claims you owe. What's in it? Proof, Wade said simply. Proof that some people are owed more than money. Proof that certain contracts survive death. proof that you made a choice 3 weeks ago that set wheels in motion you cannot stop, only serve." He lifted the crate with surprising ease for a man his age and held it out to me. It was lighter than I expected, barely 5 pounds. But when I took it, I felt something shift inside. Not a rattle, not a slide, a movement, like something alive adjusting its position. "Jesus Christ," I whispered, almost dropping it. "He's not involved in this transaction." Wade's expression didn't change. "412 Alameda Street, San Antonio, Sunday midnight. Give it to the woman who answers the door. She'll be expecting you. Do not speak to her. Do not ask questions. Hand her the crate. Receive your confirmation. Leave." "Understood." "Who is she?" "Someone Thomas Mackler wronged more than he wronged you." Wade walked to the door and opened it. 4 days, Mr. Cooper. Don't waste them." I left with the crate tucked under my arm. The ferry ride back was endless, that shifting sensation happening every few minutes. By the time I reached Del Rio, I'd convinced myself it was just poorly packed content settling. Had to be. I hid the crate in my freight wagon under a tarp and drove through the night towards San Antonio. I couldn't risk taking it home. Couldn't let Sarah or Emma near it. Whatever was inside, it was wrong. I could feel it radiating wrongness like heat from a stove. I made camp outside Uvalde on Friday night, built a fire, made coffee, tried to sleep. Around 2 a.m. I heard something moving in my wagon. I grabbed my rifle and approached slowly. The tarp was undisturbed, but beneath it, I could hear scratching. Slow, deliberate, like fingernails on wood. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Then silence. Then 3 more scratches. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. Saturday, I pushed hard for San Antonio. The scratching continued periodically throughout the day. Always 3 scratches. Always the same rhythm. By evening, I was convinced something was trying to get out. I reached San Antonio on Saturday night and took a room at a boarding house on Commerce Street. I brought the crate inside, locked the door, and sat watching it until my eyes burned. The scratching had stopped, but now I could hear something else. Breathing, faint but steady, like someone sleeping. At 11 p.m. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know. I pulled out my knife and started working at the edge of the crate lid. The nails came out easier than they should have. 3 minutes of prying and the lid came loose. I stopped, held my breath, remembered Wade's warning about consequences. Then I lifted the lid. Inside was a glass jar wrapped in black velvet. The jar was sealed with red wax, and inside the jar was a human heart, still beating. I could see it contracting, expanding, contracting, slow and steady, alive. I dropped to the lid, stepped back. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the knife. There was a paper tucked beside the jar. Against every instinct, I reached in and pulled it out. The handwriting was feminine, elegant, completely at odds with the horror in the jar. It read, "Thomas Mackler promised me forever. He gave me 3 months and a bullet. This is what's left of his promises. Deliver it to me so I can return it to him." It was signed, Magdalena Reyes, 412 Alameda Street. I sealed the crate back up with trembling hands. Whatever this was, whatever arrangement existed between Mackler, Wade, and this woman, I was caught in the middle of something far beyond unpaid debts. I didn't sleep. At 11:30 Sunday night, I loaded the crate into a rented carriage and drove to Alameda Street. 412 was a small stone house set back from the road. Dark windows, overgrown yard, a iron fence that had rusted to ruin. The kind of place people avoided after dark. I carried the crate to the front door and knocked at midnight exactly. The woman who answered was beautiful and terrible, young, maybe 25, with black hair and darker eyes. She wore a white dress that might have been a wedding gown once, but it was the smell that hit me, roses and rot, sweet and spoiled at the same time. She looked at the crate in my hands and smiled. It was Mackler's smile, that same knowing curve of the lips. "Mr. Cooper," she said. Her voice was soft, musical. "Right on time. Thomas said you'd learn." She took the crate from me. Our fingers touched for a moment, and hers were ice cold. "Is he here?" I had to ask. "Mackler, is he watching?" "Always." She cradled the crate against her chest like a child. "He's watching you right now, waiting to see if you'll ask the questions you shouldn't, waiting to see if you've learned anything. I just want this finished." "It is." She reached into her dress pocket and pulled out a small envelope. "Your confirmation. Open it when you get home, not before." She started to close the door, then paused. "Thomas Mackler made me a promise once, Mr. Cooper. Swore he'd love me forever. Then his business took priority. He left me in a hotel in Eagle Pass with nothing but a note and a gun. I was carrying his child. I used the gun on myself, on the child, on the forever he promised." Her eyes were completely black now, no whites at all. "Some debts take more than a lifetime to settle. You helped him escape his. Remember that before you judge what happens next." She closed the door. I heard the lock turn. Then I heard her laughing inside, soft and sad and utterly broken. I ran to the carriage and drove like demons were chasing me. I reached home Monday before dawn. Sarah was awake, pacing the parlor. Emma sat on the stairs watching with those two knowing eyes children get when they sense their parents are lying. "Where were you?" Sarah's voice was ice. "You said Sunday night. I'm sorry. The job took longer than—" "Don't lie to me, William." She stepped closer, and I saw fear in her eyes. "Something's been wrong since that man came to our door. That dead man. Yes, I know. I saw him from the window. I watched you let a corpse into our home and then lie to me about a job. I couldn't speak, couldn't explain." She slapped the envelope from Magdalena against my chest. "This came for you an hour ago. A woman in a white dress left it on our porch." She stood there smiling at our door like she could see through it. Emma screamed until I thought her lungs would burst. I opened the envelope with numb fingers. Inside was a single card, written in red ink, in that same elegant handwriting. "Debt paid, contract fulfilled. You'll never see Thomas Mackler again, but you'll always know what you carried. You'll always remember that some promises cost more than money, and some debts are paid in pieces of the soul. Thank you for your service, Mr." Beneath the message was a photograph, old, sepia-toned, cracked at the edges. It showed a young woman in a white dress standing next to a man in a brown suit. Thomas Mackler, younger, without the gold tooth. And beside him, smiling and alive and whole, was Magdalena Reyes. On the back of the photograph, someone had written, "Eagle Pass, February 1889, the day he promised forever." I looked up at Sarah, at Emma on the stairs, at the life I'd risked for $500. "It's over," I said. "I swear it's over." But that night, as I lay in bed, I heard 3 slow scratches on our bedroom window. When I looked, there was nothing there, but on the glass, written in condensation, were 2 words, "Forever William." The scratching comes every night now, 3 times. Always at 2 a.m., always the same window. Sarah hears it too, though she doesn't speak of it anymore. Emma refuses to sleep in her room. She says the bad man is gone, but something else is here now, something sad. I never saw Thomas Mackler again, but I think about Magdalena Reyes every day, about the heart still beating in that jar, about the promises we make and the prices we pay when we break them. The scratching just means I'm being reminded. Some debts are never truly paid, they just change hands.